We met at Untopical, a startup out of Calgary, where I'm from, and we both worked there. And I got laid off, actually. Spencer got promoted. I got laid off.
That's a brutal time.
Which, yeah, it wasn't my choice really, but yeah, it was. I wouldn't call it an AI product. I think we were branded as an AI product at the time, and then I think eventually we became AI-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of how we met. We kicked around some ideas for a little while, and then we both got different jobs and went and did some other stuff. And then Spencer phoned me out of the blue one Sunday morning at about 6 a.m. and was like, "Do you want to run the business?" And I was like, "Hey man, it's been a while." So yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird compliment, and I definitely took it as one that I could call him up on a random day and say, "Hey man, like, do you want to work together on something?" Because when we were at Untopical was a really cool company. They did minutes and agendas from all over North America, collecting them and creating like this search index for them. So we'd scaled a little bit too quickly when we were there, and the problem was it's like hired out an entire sales team and whatnot before we were ready for it. So it was run by Derek Koenig and can't remember Clayton.
Something.
They just sold to a company called Savra, which is owned by KKR, which is really cool. But we scaled too quickly, and the problem was then they had to lay off half the company, which was tough. And I remember when I got the call from Derek saying, "Hey, we have to make this call," and credit to him, like that's a tough call to make. He kind of listed off the people who were leaving, and the moment I heard Colton's name, I'm like, that's a big mistake. Like if there was one person that I probably would have kept out of, and absolutely zero disrespect, there were really
there was good people
on there, but
was,
I just knew, I'm like, yeah, he was a great guy to work with. So, ended up moving on to our own thing, and when I was starting up with Textlayer and kind of doing more of the consulting, needed to bring in somebody for operations to start a business off the back end, and Colton was the first person. I was like, yeah, I want to work with that guy again, so called him up.
Cool. So speaking of operations, so my company, we're going through something similar right now where we're like, well, things are going fine, but it's just things fall through the cracks a lot. Yeah. And we're thinking about like hiring a chief of staff. Actually, we hired a chief of staff person like a couple days ago. So what prompted you to think about like, okay, we need to fill this gap for operations?
I think a lot of the time is like you're just trying to fill the roles that you know that you're weak at. Like I know for myself is the best place that I can usually be spending my time is one, working on projects in AI, and then the second one is hopefully putting together like a good team of people who like working together, and that's where I wanted to spend and felt like my highest leverage point was to work on. That being said, like I would imagine for your chief of staff as well, it's really powerful to have great generalists who can just get shit done. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but
you're allowed to swear as much as you want.
That's good.
Beautiful.
I'm going to swear for sure.
Yeah, me too. But that was it, and that's what we kind of we slant towards. It's just like really talented people who can just get shit done.
What was the first thing that you did when you joined?
Oh, man, I think I worked on decks. Actually, was one of the first things we did. Actually. That was one of the early things. I remember calling the CRA pretty quickly because I was like, I guess that's a thing. We're probably registered to pay taxes, right? And then I was like, oh, we're not. Oh, God. Okay. And then that was like not that far in CRA, just in case you watch anything. But now we're backdated and we're all good. But that was like probably my second week was like getting us registered with the CRA. Was pretty early. We were doing some work for clients that I can't even remember which client it would have been, where we were doing some like education on AI best practices. We were doing education on evals and I think possibly RAG as part of it.
And what year was this? Was this like around like 2023 or?
This is 6 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's like April like 10th. So pretty recently. And so we were doing some education for a team, and someone needed to do some decks, and I was still working full time at a different company, and so it was like, all right, well, let's like see. And so my days were 6 a.m. till probably 6 p.m. at my normal job, and then eat dinner, 7 p.m. till 2 a.m. at Textlayer, and did that for about a month, which kind of sucked, but it was a good way to like feel it out, because it was like we thought we wanted to start something together, and we're like, let's like see what happens, and we'll go from there. And then a couple weeks later, I quit my job. Or like a week later, actually, I think I gave notice, but I tried to give them a few weeks' notice.
I remember I kept on calling you throughout the course of the day to talk about stuff, and you'd be in like the little work booth at Platform Calgary. And I just remember him telling me, it's like, God, I can't wait to leave this job.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so excited. It's like, yeah, okay, let's get you over. So
Yeah.
that was great.
So you were still based in Calgary?
Yeah, I still am now.
Oh, so you're here for like...
I'm just visiting. I visit. Well, now it's probably like every like 6 weeks right now. So we're seeing like if we can go back and forth, maybe relocating to Ottawa. We'll see.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what's like your day-to-day like in terms of like work at Textlayer?
Yeah, I mean, we're a little bit more positioned now towards kind of internal tooling. So we built out kind of an automated recruitment platform that we're working with right now and kind of building up, and some other stuff to help us on our deployments. So making sure that we can get like feedback from customers and whatnot. Right now it's mostly around just kind of giving context to people to be able to do their jobs. I don't think a lot of the best ideas are ever going to come directly from me or any one person, so I want to make sure that everybody actually has the context they need to make their own decisions. It's always those like weekend hackaways that you make like that cool feature that helps. So long story on that is during the course of the day I'll meet up with some people, talk through problems that they're having, see if there's any way that I can help facilitate solutions to those and bounce some ideas off of. And otherwise just annoy people with Google Meets.
I think every so often you flex your coding muscles too.
Every
Not too often, but a little bit. Day to day for me is, I mean, it's whatever needs to be done that week. It's like some weeks I'm doing PM work, some weeks, the last 3 weeks I've been doing SOC 2 compliance work. Some weeks I'm hiring, some weeks I'm doing accounting work, some like a line of credit application. Just depends on the week. Even the day, like there's a couple days I've worn 7 different hats, which isn't like normal. Usually I can like focus a day or 2 at a time, but yeah, it's very, very varied for me.
How big is the team right now?
We're just up to 7 now.
7, yeah.
Yeah. So we're mostly engineering heavy. We've got 3 in the dedicated engineering team. We've got 1 designer, 1 mostly product, but kind of advisor. He was the entrepreneur in residence at the PE firm that we were working with right now, so he's been a fantastic help. And then obviously Colton in operations, and then me just taking.
And Prag.
Oh, Prag. No, I said design.
You did say design.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not gonna forget.
And then Alex, we have a part-time accountant too.
Right. That one too.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So I know you guys done a lot of client work, but you also have ambitions for your own product.
Yeah.
So is it possible to share some information on that?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is we've been doing like startups for a while, and this is the same thing as I kind of mentioned, is like a lot of times when you are working on these projects, the feedback loop kind of gets lost. And we found that for a lot of these projects, trying to figure that out, there's a ton of friction. So what we're building is a platform that makes it a lot easier for you to get feedback on your LLM applications. That way, if you've got like a subject matter expert, or you just want to take a look at kind of the outputs of your model itself in a cohesive way, not just like an individual trace way, it's a lot easier to like mark them up and get suggestions for how to improve it and all of those things. So we're calling it Verse. We're right now kind of at the beginning of the alpha stage, but we're trying to look to get people to help us validate it and make sure it's a good idea.
I agree. So I think over the past, I guess like year or so, people have started to realize that, hey, like once you start tracing stuff on Langsmith or whatever, like you get lost in the traces because there's so many like different runs and stuff like that. You don't get a lot of insights out of that right away. But for me personally, what I realized recently is that as long as I like, sometimes when I look at the transition between like an agent call, that's where I usually see like where the errors are. So it's like switching from one tool to another, or finishing one tool and then like piping the results to another, and that's where it's usually breaks. And then I can like kind of reverse engineer and figure out where the root cause was. And I do agree that, if there's a tool out there that a PM or like a non-technical person can just go in and not have to like wrangle data and get insights, That would be pretty sick.
Yeah, I think the way that this is being solved right now is you are exporting CSVs and handing over spreadsheets for like PMs and SMEs to go in and like by hand look through all these traces with a bunch of data. So like it's tough. Yeah, we've done that countless times at this point. It's always hard to get those like aha moments too when you're going through. Like as the person who's doing it, you have a good idea of what you're looking for, but if it's not put in a way that makes that easy, it can get difficult. And also, like, sorry, this is another little bit of a tangent here. You kind of have to look at a ton of them too. But a lot of conversations are the same. So do I need to look through 40 of the same conversation to find the same problem?
Right. There's a way to cluster them. It'll be much easier.
That's exactly it. So we're looking at ways, how do we kind of shortcut that process and streamline it as much as possible? Clustering, finding great examples of the conversations you should be looking at, getting those in front of people's faces so that they can mark them up, and then getting them back to give you suggestions to improve your workflow.
I think a big thing too is getting it in the hands of product managers. Like devs are doing a lot of this work, which is not how any other product is built. Like devs aren't typically interacting with users. They're not typically driving user behavior in this direction or that direction. It's really odd to me that that's the way it's sort of working. I mean, there's subject matter experts as well, and there are PMs involved somewhat, but like devs do a lot of the heavy lifting, which is strange and not the way like a lot of products work. So we're trying to put that in the hands of product managers who can make those strategic decisions to look at conversations and make decisions on what the user should be doing or what user intent would be.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going to jump in on that one too, because like I would largely agree with that. I think the other one that gets me though is like a lot of engineers just want to build better products. Like it's not for a lack of trying or wanting in those cases either. It's like having it set up so that you can make it better. PMs should be a part of the process. SMEs should be a part of the process, but like engineers are also building, and they should have the tools that they need.
Yeah, and there's like a analogy for that in other verticals as well, or adjacent fields. So, for example, when I first heard about the idea, I thought of PostHog
Yeah.
instead of like something like Brain Trust, where it's like quite technical, but then like PostHog is like your whole team can jump on there and you can watch like sessions and stuff like that. So it's closer to like something that you can touch and feel rather than like data too data driven.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we were originally banding around the idea, I think it was mix PostHog with Langfuse.
Yeah.
Was the one. I think we're starting to get a little bit more towards like mixed panel and amplitude now. But again, it's back to the workflow. Like how do people actually work and what is going to make your product better? That's like the key one for us.
Makes sense. So throughout your journey so far building Textlayer, like were there any moments where like shit just like didn't work or like something catastrophic happened or anything like that?
I mean, I don't think Textlayer specifically, but I think the life of a startup is always catastrophic things happening. On Topical is a great example of that one.
I could think of one, but
oh no, please get in there.
Hiring is hard. I'd say that's something we were pretty naive about at first. We pay really well and we have a great team and we're working on cool stuff and all that's great. But yeah, hiring is really tough for a small company without a lot of public exposure. So that was something that was really tough and we were pretty bad at initially. And now we're like, I'd say we're pretty decent. We're still like, we're at a pretty functional stage. We need to probably tweak a few things to get even better, but our like talent strategy is starting to evolve, which is cool. But yeah, it's rough, I think, for everyone right now. For candidates, for people hiring, it's that was definitely surprising.
To quote Colton on this one, if you're looking for a job, we pay very well.
We do.
And you guys are hiring across Canada, right?
Yeah, across Canada, we do tend to prefer Canadian candidates just because we're pretty patriotic generally, and we just want to make sure that we're working with great Canadian talent. But yeah, great team that works incredibly hard, so I'm incredibly privileged to be able to work with these guys.
Yeah. I agree with the piece about like hiring is incredibly hard. For a few companies that I do consulting with, like they've been trying to hire forward deploy engineers for a little while.
Yeah.
And they were looking specifically in Ottawa, and they haven't had any luck. So they were actually thinking about switching the position name to solutions engineer. And then they start getting more hits on like applications. But for me personally, like we went through something similar recently where because we have a community, We were able to like pick and choose people pretty quickly because people who knew who we were, and like some of the best people knew who we were. But I could imagine like if, let's say, the company does not do like some sort of hackathon or have some sort of like involvement in the community, it might be hard to be like, hey, like we're hiring, but then like the message might be lost in, LinkedIn, easy apply, and like there's just random people start applying. So like so you guys had some learnings through that process throughout the past couple months or year or so. So like what are some of the learnings that you've gotten from like hiring that you can share?
There's a lot of fraud.
There is a surprising amount of fraud, actually, yeah.
I think that's the biggest one. We've had candidates from like North Korea and China who have tried to, and you can call them out right away. We had I remember an application from a guy who said that he was former Google and member of OpenAI technical staff, and I got on the call with him. I remember even messaging you, being like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this guy applied."
Yeah.
And then I got on the call. I'm like, you are not the same person. Like, not even close. So yeah, fraud is a big one. I think there's an over-reliance on AI tools right now too.
Yeah, that's tough too, for sure.
Those are like, I love AI tools, obviously, but I think it's where you get in there and you expect to just like vibe code your entire like technical round. Review it before you go in. Like if there's emojis that are in there, you're probably gonna have a hard time. But yeah, those are the biggest. You had the brunt of it though. What's your...
Yeah, our strategy to figure out our process was like we never really, like I'd hired, but not on this scale and not for a small company like this. So we experimented a lot. I think I've done 300-ish interviews this year.
Jesus.
Because
imagine
we were
the
like
time that you spent on that and not doing something else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a rough, like I think there was weeks I had like 60 interviews. Like 18 of the day, I think, was my record. But we literally were like, let's just like brute force this and learn as much as we can out of just interviewing people, and let's pass people to technicals that we think might work, and then like let's learn. And it's not that we like didn't have an intention of hiring those people. It just like we didn't really know what we were looking for, I think. So we like brute forced a little bit to learn and refine our process that way. Our technicals got better, our screening got better, our grading systems got better. We built some automation in all of those things to be more efficient. We bought a different ATS. We've done a lot of changes. And then now we're kind of looking to take that to the next phase, the next 6 months ish, get a little more formal. And I think the next frontier is like sourcing. We got to get better at like sourcing and finding people that aren't just like applying to roles, because that's where a lot of the best talent is. So
classic plug, but Juicebox is wonderful.
Juicebox is great.
Cool tool.
Yeah.
What is Juicebox?
It's a sourcing tool. Sorry.
No. That's all you.
It's there's like an AI assisted sourcing tool. Super cool. You can like send agents out to just go find people. You can message them through the platform. It's pretty much a sales tool, but instead of selling to people, you're trying to hire people.
It's like an outbound tool for recruiters.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's really neat, and like you'll pull up someone's LinkedIn, and it's like they've been promoted 3 times. They have this experience. This is like a good indicator for this position. It's pretty powerful. We like haven't used it to its full extent. In fact, I think it might be paused right now. But when we can, we want to definitely do more sourcing.
Our cool kind of secret one on that too is when you're going to launch a product, using Juicebox to find all the people who are working on similar startups, to start following them on like LinkedIn and whatnot to see new product developments and where.
Yeah, because they post stuff all the time, right?
Exactly.
As they should.
So it's like it's great for competitive intelligence to be able to find out like what people are doing to make sure you can stay out of it too. So this is a commercial brought to you by Juicebox.
Hopefully this podcast will one day be sponsored by this tool. So were you guys hiring mostly like contractors or full-time employees?
Contractors for right now, but we're swapping right over to employees. So we
on the to-do list for like this month is to get people to employees, and that has also been a tricky part, is asking someone to leave a like cushy, potentially big fancy corporate job. And
what would be like the best argument for them to do that?
To do a contract, like, because you want to build cool stuff, like because you want to work at a startup and you want to have impact in your job. That was kind of the main theme we heard from someone working at like a Manulife or something. Would be, I want more control over the end to end of my life and of the products I build, and like I just want to do more and have more impact. It's attractive even if it's a contract role. I think like that's why I'm here. So yeah.
We also like the big one that I sell on is no passengers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can get into so many teams and you just have like 3 or 4 people that you're dragging along, like that school project where you've got to be the one who's presenting all the time, and it gets grating. Like, to constantly walk in and be the one who's lifting all the time. So it's weird. Like, we're demanding. I don't think there's any way that we would say that we're not, but it almost is easier in certain ways when you've got a team full of people that are all pushing at the same time, rather than you just being the guy who has to do everything.
Yeah, it sounds like a great environment for somebody who's like really trying to either hone their craft or like push boundaries, and learn like the bleeding edge technologies. Because like at their job, they probably aren't even allowed to use anything other than, I don't know, like
Copilot.
Yeah, I was gonna say an Azure company, so they have to use Copilot. They can't use Claude Code or Cursor, stuff like that. So what are some of the skills that you guys look for? Because I'm assuming when you say hiring and technical, I'm assuming AI engineers mostly.
Yeah, typically. I mean, it's funny. One of the guys on our team might no AI background whatsoever. I mean, he did a couple of projects, but like they were few and far between. But he just had a really good grasp of the fundamentals. So when he came in, he was able to pick it up right away. And right now he's an AI architect at this point, and he does a fantastic job. So I think the priority for talent is actually switching from like rote understanding of the tools and technology to how good is your judgment? Can you make calls that I can trust right off the bat? Like, is the way that you reason through a problem good? And everything else with AI tools, you can get there and you can figure it out. It's just how quickly can you learn, how good is your judgment to do it, and how well can you execute.
That's fair. From my personal experience, I usually look for people who ask good questions on these tools. It's like the quality of the questions they ask usually tells me like how they think. And I usually just look for whether or not they have like a problem-solving framework, rather than like, did they know this or that? If they don't, can they figure out how to like get the information, and how comfortable they are using these AI coding tools? Because like surprisingly, like a lot of engineers are quite against using like Cursor and Claude Code, either out of pride or maybe fear. But have you guys seen anything similar to that, or?
I think I've heard at least a dozen times now the horror story of Cursor just deleted half of my code.
I've honestly never had that happen to me, by the way.
I kind of had it, but like I use GitHub, so I just reverted back to the last commit.
Exactly.
Yeah. We probably, I guess, just by the nature of the jobs that we put out there, we get people who are maybe more ready to adopt AI. We have to weed out for people who are more cautious in their approach, but
we're definitely not like screening a lot of people who aren't using AI. It's one of our interview questions is like, how do you use AI in your day-to-day?
Do you put that on the job posting too? Like, have to have experience with Cursor or something?
No, it's not in a job description, but it is like, I guess it's an assumption to the point at which like it's not on the job description, because it was like, well, of course you'd be using that. But you're not necessarily. But I don't think we've really had anyone that's like, oh, I've never used that before. They've at least used Copilot, because that's what their organization made them use, or something like that anyway. But then a lot of people like have side projects where they're using Cursor or they're using Claude Code just to like make sure they're up to date, and that's always a good sign.
That's fair. What are some of the things that are coming up for you guys other than like the secret product?
Yeah. So I think right now our big one is secret product, but just getting more efficient and training ourselves up for what we need to do. So a lot of the projects are structured very similarly. We've got more than enough work in the pipeline right now, which is good. But the other portion here is just hiring. I think a ton of hiring.
Yeah.
And SOC 2, as you were saying as well.
SOC 2,
But, we're pretty simple people on that side. We are trying to adopt the Google style 20% days too, where it's just like give people Fridays to be able to hack away at an agent and figure out new things. I'm interested to see how that compounds over the next like 6 months, what people come up with. So it should be fun.
I'm going to test them in verse.
Yeah.
Which would be cool. I think that's mostly it. Product launch covers potentially a lot of things. So
yeah, I'm trying to hedge ourselves on that way. But I mean, like ultimately we still do have all of the contracting work that we can do there too. So
Sweet. Yeah, I agree. So the 20% kind of like time spent on moonshot projects, I think it's very relevant nowadays because we're in the space where things change every like 2-3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Like companies need to allow people to have this time and space to like just build like shitty stuff.
Yeah.
Or not even shitty stuff, like things that are half working, and then not be reprimanded if they don't work, or like wasted a week or two on something that it didn't pan out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, there's so many tools where you're never going to really get during the regular course of business to try out this new tool. I for myself, like the Claude Agents SDK, I've been wanting to mess around with it for a really long time because there's a bunch of great additions that are in there. And I'm a huge Anthropic fan. I think they've really like leveled up their game over the past year or so. But yeah, I didn't have a chance. And then literally last Friday, I just hacked together a small agent for myself, Ragbot, if you would imagine, but text to SQL, so that was pretty cool as well. But yeah, have you availed yourself of your 20% day today, or you're just in
doing interviews?
Well, yeah. There's definitely interviews. I think the like vibe coding stuff has been kind of fun. That was like one that I found like I was gaming with buddies, and like in between rounds, I was like playing on Replit, and then I was like dying in the game because I was like busy on Replit. Dude, what are you doing? I was like, oh. Yeah, like I think that's been kind of fun. Like I've a couple stupid little vibe coded apps and made like I refuse to pay to like have an email signature, so I vibe coded a way to do that.
Nice.
Like a nice visual one that was on brand, and like typically you have to pay us like not a lot of money, but I find that absurd to have to pay for across an organization. So I vibe coded a email signature generator, like the HubSpot has kind of something similar. So it was like a little side project. It didn't take a lot of time, and it was vibe coded, but it's kind of fun to be able to produce something.
Do you have ambitions for like maybe automating several key responsibilities and roles in your organization as like an ops person? Kind of keeping the team lean, that kind of deal.
Definitely, I think like recruitment's been where we started in like some of the automations and just being efficient, and like you can't automate interviewing. Well, you can. People are. But that's not like, I don't think that fits like our philosophy for how you interact with people and treat people well, I'd say. But yeah, we've been like automating a lot of that. I think it takes knowing what you're doing in a specific area. So as like an ops generalist, it's like when I'm throwing all of my weight behind one specific thing, and then I learn a lot of it, and then I can like leave that semi-automated, and then hopefully fully automated eventually is like the dream. Is keep the team lean and be able to do like a lot of things, and hopefully I could hire like 3 generalists. We could do the job of 25 people. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, and you'll probably be sick of me when I say this, but the one that I always kind of reinforce is like your job as a founder is typically 3 things. You tackle a problem as a generalist, you then standardize that problem into like a repeatable method, and then you either automate it or you delegate it. And as AI has kind of come in, that automation is a lot more of the spectrum as opposed to delegation. So for our recruitment, rather than maybe having somebody who's going through all of those technical interviews, our first pass is done by Claude Code. So we can weed out like a lot of them that would have taken another person, almost like a full-time job. So yeah, that part has been good. I also, when you get into enterprises as well, like we have wonderful partners that we work with, but I will say you have to spend about 60% of your time in meetings. So the calculus that I always put forward is my generalist with AI better on a relative basis than your 60% overhead with your expert? And I think that's really slanting towards the generalists right now.
Interesting.
So yeah, my view of this is much leaner teams of people who are much more highly paid is going to become the norm, and should be, as we're going forward here.
So going back to like hiring, do you guys like look for new grads or juniors at all, or mostly like more senior staff experienced people who can hold their own?
Generally seniors for right now. I think we're at a point though, I like typically the ratio is 2-to-1, where you'll have 2 seniors to 1 junior. I personally prefer 3-to-1, especially because there's a smaller core group that's here. But now that we have our 3 kind of seniors that are in here, we're probably going to be looking for a junior to come in fresh out of school and somebody who's hungry, I think is the key part and wants to learn.
Yeah, I think we just didn't have an environment for someone that didn't have a ton of experience where like there's just too much pressure to build and do things and be able to do more, and like it's a lot of pressure coming out of school. Like I wouldn't be able to do that. But now that we have like a little support, I think it's possible now. Yeah.
That's fair. Because like with all those stuff that's happening with AI, companies don't hire as much anymore. So like there's like I don't know if we've seen that yet, but like maybe in the next few years could potentially there would be like a shortage of like the pipeline going from like juniors to like senior.
Definitely.
Because like where can the juniors kind of develop, hone their crafts if they don't get hired anywhere?
That was honestly, I've been thinking about that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
If we don't have those juniors, how do they become the seniors later? I think a lot of people don't even know what they're hiring for in juniors though anymore. Because AI has not only just shifted what can be done, it's shifted how we value traits in society. And I think that's why it's so impactful. Is again, like we're looking for people with great judgment. We're looking for people who can, autonomously do things themselves. For a long time, our education system is geared towards rote memorization. So
True.
For a lot of orgs, they don't know who to hire, and therefore they don't. So I think a big one here is like just getting them in kind of more of an apprenticeship style, is get people to work together, maybe have them do a little kind of those side projects, 20% projects, maybe shape them up a bit and see the problems that are inherent there, and then try to figure it out going on.
I would say we have like a designer who's fairly fresh out of school, and he's awesome.
Yeah,
like he's just he gets shit done. He learns quickly, and when he doesn't understand stuff, he asks questions, and like, yeah, he's crushing it. Like we're very fortunate to have someone that like knows all the most recent stuff coming out of design school. And he went to a pretty good design school as far as I understand.
Yeah,
I don't know a lot about design schools. I'm like Har. And like he's a huge contributor on the team, and I think I don't know how to find those types of juniors. We just kind of lucked into finding him, but
it was a recommendation.
He was a recommendation, yeah. But like if we could find more Regs, we'd be doing well.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I feel so bad for him because like he's obviously out in Vancouver. I mean, not obviously, but he's out in Vancouver. So the time zone,
you wouldn't be able to find that here.
Yeah, the lore has just dropped. So the time zone's off. But like I'll just send him over websites that I find like really cool at like 3 a.m. his time, and just like he's good about it. You'll just get a bunch of like fire emojis that are going off the back. He's wicked.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. Any last thoughts?
Honestly, not particularly. I think the biggest one is for people who are building an AI right now. It is very easy to get yourself kind of secluded and to adopt a just one more feature mentality, where you play these games and battles with yourself. The best thing that I can advise for anybody is just get out in front of people and talk to people and learn from people. You can't automate away human interaction. You are building for a person, not for an AI. Build that into your process.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I think if you want to explore that more,
you
can talk to us about it.
Yeah.
If you want to explore the workflow of looking what your users are doing and how they're interacting with your product, we're looking for alpha testers, potentially beta testers soon. We're going to wait list going. And then if you're looking for a job, I think we're flexible to kind of hire good people. We can make room. So we don't have a posting right now, but we could.
We'll probably even put that on the same site as well. So for both of those, it'll be tryverse.ai, tryverse.ai, and we'll put some job listings up there too for some juniors and seniors and whatnot.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming in today and do the pod.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having us. This is great.